Hey guys, welcome to day 5 of Vlogmas. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing what food and fashion have in common for me. So if you follow me on Instagram at Story of Lori, you know that I post more than just the food that I'm eating. One thing that you may notice that I post often or share on my Instagram stories are the outfits that I'm wearing. And for me, both food and fashion are opportunities for me to express my creativity. So actually at one point in time, I believe I did include the word fashion in my fun freedom bio on Instagram. But I ended up removing it because I actually realized that for me, fashion was just an element of fun. And so I wanted to explain that it may seem kind of strange that fashion is kind of a big part of my life and something that I think about a lot when I'm a minimalist, right? So I'll include my minimalism video in the video description in case you haven't watched that yet. But something that I find that's really interesting is I love the idea of having like limitations, because I find that we become more creative. So you may notice that when you have a lot of options, like you go to the grocery store and you're like, okay, I can buy anything, you feel very overwhelmed. So it kind of like closes down your mind. And but yet the opposite happens when you have limitations. It causes you to become more creative. So because my diet has limitations in it, and I don't see it as restrictions, I see it as limitations. And I talk about this in my High Vibe Guide, which is my 82-page guide to living and thriving on a raw vegan lifestyle. So I will also include the link to that ebook in this video's description. And that's also included in all of my video descriptions. So when I have these limitations in my diet, it causes me to become more creative. So I come up with new recipes all the time. I come up with creative ways to display my food. And so that's another reason actually why I love social media. So I do have a video about how social media helps me to love myself more. So I will also include that video in this video's description. But with social media, it's really cool because with Instagram, for example, you only have 15 seconds, and now you obviously have longer, but I still oftentimes include just the 15 seconds to have that limitation. And I love that with the Instagram profile, when you have your photos, you have only a certain amount of space. And so I love that because actually a story that has really inspired me, I had heard this story, and I don't know where I heard it from, but I had heard that Steve Jobs had presented his engineers with this idea of, I believe it was like a smaller size of something that he wanted, like a smaller physical size of a product that he was creating. And but he wanted it to have more power in it. And he went to his engineers and he was like, okay, I have this idea for this concept and I want it to have more like memory or more power, but in a smaller amount of space. And all of the engineers were like, no, that's impossible. That can't be done. And he was like, no, that's what I want. And basically the engineers ended up coming up with a way to figure it out. And they really expressed their creativity by being able to find a solution. And in my experience, that has always been the case. When there are limitations, then that's when we have an opportunity to become more creative because it causes us to come up with new solutions. So the fact that I actually have a very limited wardrobe and I have very few items in my wardrobe, and the fact that I use very few ingredients oftentimes in the foods that in the recipes that I'm making and the foods that I'm eating, because I don't buy, a ridiculous amount of like a variety of things that I keep in my kitchen. I get a certain amount of things for the week oftentimes. And so by having these limitations, I become more creative. I constantly come up with new recipes. I'm constantly coming up with new ways to dress myself up, to like organize my clothes in a different way. And it's not just with my clothes, I also change my hair. So something that I had challenged myself with during Rocktober, when I was posting a video every single day for the month of October, is that I was changing my hairdo every day. So if you look back at my Rocktober playlist, I can include a link to that in this video's description. You'll notice that I had a different hairdo every single day. So sometimes it would be a minor change, like including a clip where I didn't have a clip before, but it was always something different. And so I still do that. So I'm still constantly changing my wardrobe. I'm constantly changing how I do my hair, and I'm constantly changing how I display my foods. So it's this opportunity to constantly be creative every single day. And that's a really cool thing too, because it is every single day. And it's the same with social media. Because with my clothes, I'm wearing a different outfit every single day. And with my food, I have an opportunity every single day to display my foods differently or to come up with a new recipe. So I love being able to be creative in this way, and it's not a traditional way. Like, people think that creativity has to be through traditional means of art, but that's not true at all. For me, it's through social media, it's through the foods I'm eating, it's through my fashion. So I love this. I love being creative in this way. That's just how I feel inspired to be creative. And I believe that creativity is, and incorporating creativity in any way in your life is super important. It just gets you to think differently. It gets you to think outside the box. It gets you to come up with new solutions that might be more efficient, that might be better, that might be more fun. So for me, it's just an opportunity to have fun and to think differently, and it's something I really love. So I wanted to be sure to share it with you guys. I'd love to know your comments and questions in the comments section down below, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Love you guys. Bye.